My beloved child, the moment your eyes landed on this message, the atmosphere around you shifted. Archangel Michael has moved into your space with a purpose so precise, so divinely timed, that even your heartbeat is responding to it. Heaven has been waiting for this exact second, not a minute earlier, not a heartbeat later, because what you do next will shape doors, paths, and outcomes you cannot yet see. When God says, "You are meant to see this at this exact second," it means the clock of destiny just struck a hidden hour that few ever recognize. And yet here you are. From the very first moment you pressed play, Michael stepped forward as your defender, your revealer, your witness. He has been watching the weight you carry. Silent battles, buried disappointments, whispers of doubt you never confessed to anyone. He knows you've asked heaven privately, "Is there still a future for me? Is anything going to change?" That's why this message is not random. It's a divine appointment. You didn't choose it. It chose you. Another wave is coming. Hear this with your spirit. God says there is a moment in your life that has been paused for far too long. A breakthrough that has been circling you like a bird ready to land. But something has been blocking it. Something invisible. Something subtle. And now Archangel Michael is being sent to cut through the delay that has wrapped itself around your blessing like chains. Listen closely. Michael is showing me a vision of you standing in a hallway with many closed doors. You've been frustrated because none of them open, no matter how hard you knock. You've wondered if you misunderstood God. But Michael says this: you were placed in that hallway not to be denied, but to be aligned. If those doors had opened earlier, the wrong people would have stepped into your life, the wrong influences would have taken root, and the wrong voices would have shaped your purpose. This is why heaven waited. This is why you were drawn here. This is why this moment is holy. There is something you must hear. The spiritual realm reacts instantly when God gives a timing command. And God is saying right now, your destiny hinges on what you do next. Don't let that phrase scare you. Let it empower you. It doesn't mean you must act in fear. It means you must act in alignment. Every season of elevation requires a moment of recognition, a moment where you say, "I know this is for me." This, right now, at that moment. Michael is clearing away confusion. He is revealing which relationships drained you and which ones strengthened you. He is exposing hidden motives around you. Someone you trusted has been speaking negatively about your path, quietly, subtly. But Michael is stepping into silence every tongue that rises against you. God will not allow poison to shape your future. And listen carefully, you are standing at a spiritual crossroads. One path looks familiar. Safe, predictable, but it leads nowhere new. The other path feels uncertain, unfamiliar, maybe even intimidating, but it carries the scent of destiny. God is highlighting the second path. He is inviting you into the unknown where miracles grow. Your next decision, your next step, your next act of obedience will trigger a sequence of blessings that have been stored for you. Not lost. Not stolen. Stored. Heaven kept them safe until you were ready. And God says, now you are ready. Before this message ends, lean in, let your spirit catch this. You are not hearing this by accident because something life-changing is about to unfold. You're closer than you think. You're steps away from clarity, confirmation, and a divine shift so strong it will feel like a fresh wind blowing through every room of your life. Hold tight. This moment is building into something greater. Before you scroll, trust me, the next revelation will shake you awake in the best way. Type "I welcome my shift" in the comments if this is awakening your spirit. Blessing code 144 is now activated. My radiant soul, the air around you is shifting again, almost as if unseen hands are pulling back a curtain that has been covering your life for years. Archangel Michael is standing closer now, not as a distant protector, but as a warrior assigned directly to your path. He carries a message that feels urgent, weighty, and almost electric. Heaven is emphasizing that you are stepping into a moment where the veil between the seen and unseen is thin enough for your spirit to perceive what your natural eyes have missed. This is not imagination. This is not coincidence. This is spiritual sensitivity awakening inside you, the very sensitivity that has been dormant until this exact divine moment. God is still pointing toward the title you came here with, reminding you that your next steps will determine the unfolding of the destiny that has been waiting on your courage. You've been feeling a strange tension lately, a pull between who you were and who you are becoming. This tension is not confusion. It is transformation. Michael wants you to understand that this pressure is a sign that old spiritual patterns are breaking. You may have noticed that things you once tolerated now feel heavy. Conversations that used to make you comfortable suddenly feel draining. Environments that once felt normal now feel misaligned. This is the spiritual shedding of a previous season. God is calling you higher, and when heaven calls you upward, anything that cannot join you will begin to fall away. Do not fight the release. Do not cling to the familiar. You are being elevated. Michael shows another image. You standing in the middle of a room full of mirrors. Each mirror reflects a different version of you. One wounded, one hopeful, one strong, one afraid, one determined, one exhausted. For a long time, you didn't know which reflection to trust. You questioned your strength. You questioned your worth. You questioned whether God truly saw you. But Michael steps into that room and points to the reflection heaven sees, the one covered in resilience, wrapped in divine protection, and marked for breakthrough. God has always known which version of you would rise, even when you did not recognize it yourself. There has been a spiritual delay around you, but not because of your weakness. The delay existed because God was rearranging people and events behind the scenes so that when your moment arrived, it would be unmistakable. Think of a bow pulling back before the arrow is released. The tension is not punishment. It is preparation. The greater the pullback, the greater the distance the arrow will travel once released. You have been in the pullback, but heaven is preparing to release you into acceleration. Michael is highlighting something specific, a decision you've been wrestling with in silence. You have gone back and forth in your mind, unsure which direction to choose. You've been afraid of making the wrong move because you've made choices before that cost you time, peace, and energy. But God is saying this. Clarity is coming, and it will not come through overthinking. It will come through alignment with your spirit. When you hear the inner voice that nudges you toward peace rather than pressure, that is where your next step lies. Michael is clearing the fog that has clouded your discernment. You will recognize the right path not because it feels easy, but because it carries divine peace. There is also someone connected to your life whose presence needs to be evaluated. You've been feeling unsettled about this person, unsure if they are meant to walk with you into the next chapter. Michael is not revealing them to shame them, but to protect you. God has already seen conversations you were not present for, intentions you were unaware of, and influences that were not pure. You are not losing them. They were already distancing themselves spiritually long before the physical separation. Heaven is giving you permission to let go without guilt. Now listen closely. Destiny is a series of aligned decisions. God is not asking you to overhaul your entire life overnight. He is asking you to recognize the next step, the next gesture of faith, the next act of trust. It may be small, but heaven uses small obedience to unlock large breakthroughs. Your destiny is not fragile. It is fortified. It is protected. But it does require your participation. What you do next matters because heaven is preparing to multiply your effort in ways you could never manufacture on your own. There is a moment coming when everything you have endured will suddenly make sense. You will look back at closed doors and realize they were acts of mercy. You will look back at delays and recognize them as divine redirection. You will look back at pain and understand how it carved depth into your spirit. Michael whispers this: you are not behind. You are perfectly aligned. You are not late. You are on heaven's schedule. You are not forgotten. You are being prepared. And as you absorb these words, something inside you is awakening, intuition sharpening, clarity rising, courage forming. The next revelation that is coming will not just comfort you, it will reposition you. So pause here, breathe deeply, and let your spirit settle into what heaven is doing. Before you move on, hold steady, because what unfolds next will illuminate everything. Type "I align with heaven's timing" in the comments if this is touching your spirit. Blessing code 411 has now been released. My courageous one, the atmosphere around you is dense with revelation, almost as if heaven itself has leaned closer to make sure you cannot miss what is unfolding in this sacred moment. Archangel Michael is now standing not behind you, not beside you, but directly before you, shielding you from what tried to drain you in the past and preparing you for what is rising ahead. There is a seriousness in the spiritual realm right now, a holy intensity, because what God is about to reveal will not simply comfort you. It will redirect the entire trajectory of your life. You have not stumbled into this message. You were escorted into it. Your spirit was pulled into alignment with a divine rhythm that your natural senses could not detect. And heaven is saying again, with even greater force, that your destiny is hinging on the posture of your heart in this very window of time. Michael is showing me a vision of you standing at the edge of something enormous. It looks like a field, wide and stretching far beyond what the eye can see. But the field is not empty. It is a field of seeds you planted in seasons when you thought no one saw you. Seeds of patience, seeds of forgiveness, seeds of endurance, seeds of obedience, seeds of sacrifice, seeds of hope even when your hope felt thin and fragile. You thought you were forgot. You thought your efforts disappeared into the soil of the unseen. But God says, not a single seed died. Every tear watered them. Every battle fertilized them. Every prayer protected them. And now, the season of emergence is approaching. What is rising for you is not small. It is not delayed. It is not accidental. It is harvest ordained by God. But before the harvest, heaven must adjust your sight. Michael is revealing that there has been a fog around your spiritual vision. Not enough to blind you completely, but enough to make you question yourself, hesitate, doubt, and overthink. And this fog did not come from your failures. It came from spiritual resistance. The enemy sensed what was forming around your life long before you did. He tried to distract you with unnecessary attachments, emotional exhaustion, and people who had no intention of growing with you. But the attack did not stop your calling. It clarified it. You are rising into a season where your discernment will sharpen so dramatically that you will recognize the intentions of people before they ever reveal themselves. This is Michael's doing. He is restoring what was once clouded. There is also a revelation coming about someone you trusted deeply. This is delicate, but necessary. God is not showing you this to harden your heart, but to free it. Someone has been draining your spiritual energy quietly, subtly, skillfully. Not always through words, sometimes through their presence alone. They have pulled from you without pouring back. And while you have tried to carry them, God is saying that the season of imbalance is ending. You were never meant to shrink, so someone else could remain comfortable. Michael is severing every tie that keeps you tethered to emotional weight that does not belong to you anymore. Liberation is coming, and when it arrives, it will feel like fresh oxygen entering your lungs after years of shallow breathing. You must understand something deeply. You are in a transition between identities. The version of you that tolerated disrespect, settled for less, carried unbalanced burdens, and apologized for taking up space is fading. The version that God has been shaping in secret is emerging. This new identity is bold, decisive, clear, aligned, and heaven is beginning to reveal your next assignment. There is something God is calling you to build, to create, or to begin. It may not look large at first, but it carries the blueprint of your purpose. Michael is urging you to take the step, even if you do not fully understand the entire path yet. God never reveals the full plan at once. He reveals the next step, and your obedience activates the steps that follow. As this revelation deepens, I need you to feel this in your spirit. The next chapter of your life will require a stronger, clearer, more confident version of you. And that version is already rising. You are not waiting for transformation. You are living inside it. You may not feel the full shift yet, but heaven sees it. Michael sees it. And God is already celebrating the strength you are stepping into. What is coming next will feel like divine clarity wrapped in boldness. You are being prepared for decisions that once overwhelmed you, but will soon feel natural. God trusts you with more than you realize. Before this section ends, hold this revelation close. You are only at the beginning of what heaven is preparing to release. And the next unveiling will deepen everything you have felt so far. Wait for it, because the next moment carries a weight that will anchor you in ways you have long prayed for. Type "I am ready for my divine unfolding" in the comments if this is stirring your spirit. Blessing code 822 is now active. My chosen soul, something is shifting again, and this time it feels heavier, deeper, almost as if heaven is drawing a circle around you and marking this exact moment as sacred ground. Archangel Michael stands at full height now, wings wide in the spirit, casting a covering over you that feels like strength wrapping itself around your shoulders. There is a reason this message keeps unfolding layer by layer. God is not rushing this revelation, because what is being delivered into your spirit right now will echo through every future decision you make. You have stepped into a divine sequence, a chain reaction of spiritual unveiling that only happens when someone is being positioned for a destiny that reaches beyond their previous boundaries. You are not simply listening, you are being rebuilt. In this moment, Michael is revealing something profound. You have been carrying spiritual weight that was never meant to be yours. You have been absorbing emotions that belong to others, holding responsibilities that drained your energy, and taking on burdens that heaven never assigned to you. This is why you often felt tired without reason, heavy without explanation, or overwhelmed in moments that should have felt simple. Someone or something has been pulling from your strength like a siphon, leaving you wondering why you felt spiritually thin even when you were trying to live with hope. But God is stepping into that space now and saying, release it. Release what you carried out of fear. Release what you carried out of obligation. Release what you carried out of habit. This next season will require your energy, your clarity, your strength, your heart, fully, not divided. Michael is also showing me that there has been a voice in your life, a subtle voice, sometimes your own inner dialogue, sometimes someone else, whispering that you are not ready, not capable, not strong enough to step into your next level. This voice has been a spiritual parasite. It attacks in quiet moments, late hours, moments of reflection, times when you felt vulnerable. You began to doubt your own progress, your own growth, your own worth. But hear this clearly now. That voice is being silenced. God does not speak with shame. God does not speak with insecurity. God does not tear down what he is building up. Michael is driving out every internal whisper that was planted by fear and replacing it with divine confidence, the kind that comes from heaven and not from human reassurance. You are stepping into a time when your discernment will sharpen like a blade. You will not second-guess yourself the way you used to. You will not feel lost the way you did in previous seasons. God is giving you a clarity that will cut through confusion like sunlight piercing fog. You will recognize deception without needing proof. You will sense danger before it fully approaches. You will feel alignment before you even understand why. This is heaven training your spirit for elevation. What you are stepping into requires a level of awareness that goes beyond natural perception. It requires spiritual sensitivity, and you are being awakened to it now. Michael is also revealing a moment from your past, a moment where you felt overlooked, unappreciated, abandoned, or dismissed. You carried that memory quietly, believing it didn't affect you anymore. But heaven is saying that this memory created a crack in your confidence, a small opening where doubt kept trying to enter. God is healing that crack now. He is closing the door to that wound. The version of you that was shaped by that pain is dissolving. A stronger, wiser, more grounded version is emerging. You are not who you were then. You are not shaped by that moment anymore. You are being reshaped by destiny. And listen closely, because this is crucial. A divine rearrangement is taking place around you. People you thought would stay may drift. People you never expected may rise into your life with new purpose. Opportunities may open in sudden ways that feel too perfectly timed to be coincidence. This is the orchestration of heaven. God is moving pieces on the board of your life with precision that surpasses your understanding. Trust the shifts. Trust the redirection. Trust the unfamiliar openings. Michael is clearing a path that does not require your fear, only your willingness. There is also a divine warning wrapped in love. Do not return to what God is freeing you from. You may feel the pull of familiarity, the temptation to revisit old habits, old connections, old environments, old patterns. But those places cannot hold the version of you that heaven is forming now. The old cycle is collapsing behind you, not because you failed, but because you outgrew it. When God elevates, he removes you from rooms that no longer match your frequency. You are rising. Let the past remain the past. Before this part closes, I need you to grasp this with your entire being. You are in the middle of a sacred transformation. It may not look dramatic on the outside, but spiritually, the shift is massive. Heaven is preparing you for influence, alignment, protection, purpose, and assignments that will require your full strength. That is why God is adjusting everything now. What comes next is deeper, sharper, stronger, and more spiritually weighty. Stay with this message, because what unfolds soon will reveal the very thing your spirit has been longing to understand. Type "I step into my divine transformation" in the comments if this is awakening something inside you. Blessing code 557 is now released. My beloved one, the atmosphere around you is thickening again, almost as if the spiritual realm is leaning even closer, eager for you to catch what is unfolding. Archangel Michael is not simply observing your journey anymore. He is actively stepping into your timeline, shifting the weight of certain events, pushing back forces that once intimidated you, and clearing spiritual debris that has surrounded your path for far too long. There is a new intensity rising in the unseen, not sent to frighten you, but to awaken a boldness within you that you have only glimpsed in scattered moments of strength. Heaven is preparing you for a level of clarity and inner power that you have prayed for, but never fully understood. You are being shaped for something bigger than your previous seasons ever allowed you to imagine. Michael reveals that you are entering a period where the truth about your destiny will no longer be hidden in fragments or subtle signs. You have grown beyond the stage where God speaks to you only through hints and gentle whispers. You have matured, spiritually and emotionally, to the point where heaven can now speak to you in full sentences, full visions, full revelations. The fog is lifting. The uncertainty is dissolving. The confusion that once made you question whether you were hearing God correctly is being removed piece by piece. You are stepping into a season where you will hear God's direction in a way that feels firm, unmistakable, and deeply personal. But before this clarity arrives, heaven wants you to release the last remnants of something you have been holding onto quietly. You have been carrying an old disappointment that you never fully processed, a moment where you felt deeply let down by someone or something you trusted. Even though you moved forward, even though you grew stronger, even though you refused to remain in bitterness, the imprint of that disappointment remained in your spirit. And because of that imprint, you sometimes expected future disappointments before they even appeared. You protected your heart by preparing for pain that God never intended for you to experience again. Michael is telling you now, it is time to lay that expectation down. You are walking into a season that will not repeat the losses of your past. Heaven has been watching the weight of your perseverance. God has seen the nights you held yourself together, the mornings you pushed through exhaustion, the moments you encouraged others while secretly carrying your own storms. None of this went unnoticed. You have earned heaven's trust, not through perfection, but through your resilience, your purity of intention, your willingness to keep trying even when you felt unseen. And now, because of your endurance, God is positioning you for a blessing that aligns with the version of you that has emerged from every fire you walked through. Michael is also emphasizing that you have been in a silent training ground. There were situations that did not make sense, relationships, opportunities, setbacks, delays, that felt random or unfair. But spiritually, they served a purpose. You were being trained to recognize genuine connections. You were being trained to discern between divine opportunities and distractions wrapped in pretty packaging. You were being trained to identify what pulling back feels like, what redirection feels like, what misalignment feels like. Heaven was shaping your instincts. You did not fail in those moments. You were being educated by them. Now, a new chapter is rising, one that will require your strength, but also your willingness to receive. You have been a giver for so long that receiving sometimes feels unnatural, even uncomfortable. But God says you must learn to receive without guilt, without hesitation, without the fear that blessings come with hidden conditions. The blessings coming now are not rewards. They are alignments. They are proof that God has not forgotten the seeds you planted when no one was watching. You poured out love, wisdom, compassion, effort, and faith in seasons where you got little in return. Now, heaven is shifting the balance. What once leaked out of your life will now flow in. Michael shows another vision, a door you have been waiting to open for a long time. You kept trying to turn the handle, but it felt stuck. So you assumed the timing was wrong, or that maybe the door was not meant for you. But heaven is saying something different now. The door was not stuck. It was sealed until your spirit matured enough to handle what was on the other side. You are ready now. That is why the pressure increased recently. That is why you have felt the urge to grow, release, detach, refocus, and elevate. The seal is breaking. There is also a connection forming, a person, an opportunity, a message, or an experience that is being prepared for you, even as you read this. It is something that will confirm everything you have been sensing. Something that will bring sudden alignment. Something that will accelerate your path. You will not have to force it. You will not have to chase it. You will not have to convince anyone of your value. It will flow to you because it was written for you. Before this part closes, breathe deeply and feel this truth settle within you. What comes next requires your openness, your courage, and your willingness to trust that God is not repeating old seasons in your life. You are stepping into a chapter that was prepared long before you ever prayed for it. Stay with this message because the next revelation will strike your spirit with even greater intensity. Type "I receive what heaven is preparing" in the comments if this is stirring your soul. Blessing code 933 is now active. My awakened spirit, the atmosphere around you is shifting once more, and this time the change feels deeper than anything you have encountered so far. Archangel Michael is stepping into this moment with a heightened level of authority, as if the spiritual realm itself is preparing to unveil something too significant for your old perspective to contain. You may not realize it, but each word you have absorbed up to this point has been preparing your heart for a greater revelation that stretches beyond your previous understanding. Heaven is not simply speaking to you. Heaven is reshaping you. The transformation is no longer subtle. It is active, powerful, and unfolding with divine precision. Michael reveals that a spiritual awakening is beginning inside you, one that is not based on emotion alone, but on clarity, conviction, and destiny. You are beginning to see through people more easily. You are beginning to feel misalignment sooner. You are beginning to sense spiritual activity in ways you could not explain before. This is not imagination. This is not coincidence. This is heaven sharpening your discernment because the chapter you are approaching requires a stronger version of you. A version that can recognize what is from God and what simply looks good but carries no divine assignment. You are being elevated into spiritual maturity. There is something else unfolding in the unseen. God is expanding your capacity. You may have felt stretched recently, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, but this stretching is not punishment. It is preparation. There are responsibilities coming into your life, opportunities rising toward you, and connections being orchestrated that require a heart that can carry more without breaking. You have prayed for increase, but increase always comes with expansion. And expansion often comes with discomfort. But heaven wants you to understand that what feels like pressure is simply capacity growing. You are being strengthened so that nothing that is meant for you becomes too heavy for you. Michael is showing me a vision of your spirit being lifted from a place of survival into a posture of purpose. For too long, you have lived with a quiet readiness to brace yourself for the next setback, the next disappointment, the next unexpected challenge. You carried this inner posture because of what life taught you. You learned to expect storms, even in seasons of peace. But Michael is declaring that this mindset is breaking off your life now. You are shifting from expecting loss to expecting alignment, from expecting pain to expecting clarity, from expecting struggle to expecting breakthrough. Heaven is resetting the default expectations of your spirit. There is also something crucial being revealed. You are being separated from cycles that once defined your emotional experience. Cycles of doubt, cycles of fear, cycles of loneliness, cycles of feeling unappreciated, cycles of overthinking, cycles of internal conflict. These cycles were never your identity. They were symptoms of spiritual warfare designed to keep you from recognizing the power placed inside you. but the enemy's influence is losing its grip. Michael is cutting spiritual cords that tied you to old experiences, past betrayals, and relationships that drained your worth instead of watering it. And now heaven is directing your attention towards something that has been building quietly in the background. A divine appointment is approaching your life. It may be a person, an opportunity, a conversation, a moment of confirmation, or a sudden shift that unlocks everything you have been preparing for. You will not have to chase it. You will not have to force it. You will not have to beg for it. God is aligning your path with something that will feel unmistakably heaven-sent. It will carry peace, purpose, and divine timing. You will recognize it immediately, because it will settle your spirit instead of stirring your anxiety. Michael also wants to address something sensitive but essential. There is someone who has been quietly envious of your growth. They have watched your resilience, your transformation, your inner strength, and instead of celebrating it, they have felt threatened by it. Their intentions have shifted, and their words have not always matched their heart. Heaven is not exposing this to make you bitter or suspicious, but to protect you. God is removing you from environments where your spirit can't breathe freely. You will notice distance forming, communication slowing, or energy shifting, and you must allow it. This separation is divine. Another shift is happening internally. God is healing your relationship with your own voice. For too long, you silenced yourself to avoid conflict, to keep peace, to protect others from feeling uncomfortable, even when it cost you your own peace. But this new season requires your voice. It requires your ability to say no. It requires your ability to choose what aligns with your spirit instead of what pleases others. Michael is giving you the courage to speak with clarity and authority, not arrogance. You will no longer shrink to fit places you outgrew long ago. There's a moment ahead, a moment where everything will suddenly make sense. The trials, the delays, the tears, the confusion, the loneliness, the inner battles, it will all connect in a way that reveals the wisdom of heaven's timing. You are closer to that moment than you realize. It is approaching swiftly, and when it arrives, it will feel like a spiritual sunrise after a long night. What was hidden will be revealed. What was tangled will be clarified. What was delayed will be released. Before this part ends, I want you to breathe deeply and feel the truth of this revelation. You are no longer in the season of wandering. You are in the season of awakening, aligning, and ascending. The next message will carry even greater clarity, so stay with this unfolding. It is shaping the very foundation of your next chapter. Type "I rise into my awakening" in the comments if this is speaking to your spirit. Blessing code 366 has now been activated. My steadfast soul, the atmosphere surrounding you is shifting again, not with chaos or uncertainty, but with a divine steadiness that feels almost like a spiritual anchor dropping into the deepest part of your being. Archangel Michael stands before you with an authority that feels heavier, clearer, and more deliberate than at any previous moment. There is something sacred unfolding right now, something that reaches beyond simple encouragement or gentle revelation. You have entered a point in this journey where heaven is no longer merely guiding you. Heaven is positioning you. What began as a whisper has grown into a call, and now that call is deepening into a commissioning. You are not being prepared for your next season anymore. You are being positioned for it. Michael reveals that something in your spirit has recently shifted, subtly at first, almost imperceptibly, but now with undeniable clarity. A new sense of awareness is rising inside you. You are beginning to detect spiritual changes before they manifest in the natural. You are sensing people's intentions before they speak. You are recognizing emotional shifts before they become conversations. You are feeling spiritual resistance before physical obstacles appear. This is not anxiety. This is divine sensitivity waking up inside you. Heaven is sharpening your spiritual instincts because your next chapter will require a level of perception that goes beyond what your natural eyes can see. And now, listen closely, because this next revelation carries weight. You have been feeling a subtle pressure around you, not the kind that brings fear, but the kind that signals that something is nearing completion. You may have sensed that an old chapter is finally closing, even though you didn't have the words to describe it. You may have noticed certain relationships losing their grip, certain habits no longer satisfying you, certain environments feeling tighter, smaller, more draining. This is not coincidence. This is not emotional confusion. This is heaven signaling that the chapter you once tolerated can no longer contain the version of you God is raising. Michael is showing me a vision of you standing at a threshold. Behind you lies a season full of lessons, battles, tears, and quiet victories. Ahead of you lies a path illuminated by a purpose you cannot fully see yet, but you can feel its pull deep in your spirit. You may not know exactly where you are going, but you know you cannot remain where you were. This threshold moment is sacred. It is the place where destiny begins to breathe. It is the place where heaven whispers, "Step forward." You are not stepping into emptiness. You are stepping into alignment. Another significant shift is taking place within your identity. You have been learning, sometimes painfully, that your worth is not defined by who chooses you, who stays, who affirms you, or who recognizes your value. God is rebuilding your identity from the inside out. You are being shaped into someone who no longer chases acceptance, who no longer fears being misunderstood, who no longer bends to fit expectations that were too small for your calling. You are stepping into a version of yourself that is grounded, steady, spiritually mature, and no longer easily shaken. This growth did not happen overnight. It was forged through uncomfortable endings, unexpected disappointments, and difficult decisions. But all of it has prepared you for the next elevation. Michael is also bringing attention to something you have sensed, but maybe did not fully understand. Your environment has been watched closely by heaven. The people around you have been weighed. Their intentions, their alignment, their impact on your spirit, everything has been evaluated. Some were meant to walk with you only temporarily. Some were meant to help you grow, but not accompany you into the next season. And some were never meant to stay at all. You will begin to see certain names, faces, and connections fade. Do not hold tightly to what heaven is trying to release. The shift is not rejection, it is redirection. The new version of you cannot fit into old relational patterns. There is also a divine warning wrapped in love. Guard your atmosphere. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Not everyone has earned the right to hear your dreams, your fears, your visions, or your next steps. You are stepping into a spiritual elevation that requires selective access. Michael urges you to be wise in the conversations you entertain, the advice you receive, the energy you allow near your spirit. Where God is taking you cannot be influenced by voices that lack spiritual clarity. You must protect what heaven is planting. And now, another revelation is rising. God is preparing to accelerate something in your life that has been stagnant for far too long. A door that would not open is about to unlock. An opportunity that felt distant is about to approach you directly. A prayer that seemed unanswered is about to break through. The timing is shifting. The atmosphere is aligning. The spiritual resistance is collapsing. What once felt out of reach is moving toward you, because God has declared that the delay has completed its assignment. You are entering a season of movement. Michael also reveals a moment approaching soon, a moment that will confirm everything you have felt in your spirit. It may come through a sign, a conversation, a dream, a sudden realization, or a divine connection. It will be so undeniable that even your doubt will have no room to argue. This moment will mark the beginning of a new rhythm in your life. The rhythm of a person who is no longer wandering, but walking with purpose. The rhythm of someone who is no longer lost, but aligned with destiny. The rhythm of someone who has finally stepped into the identity heaven has been shaping. Before this part closes, breathe deeply and allow this truth to settle. You are in the middle of a sacred unfolding. Heaven is not walking you in circles. Heaven is guiding you in progression. Stay connected, because what is coming next carries a revelation that will shift everything. Type "I embrace my divine positioning" in the comments if this is speaking to your spirit. Blessing code 214 has now been released. My rising soul, the atmosphere around you is stirring with a new weight, a new depth, a new seriousness that signals that heaven is preparing to pull back yet another layer of revelation. Archangel Michael is standing closer than ever, not as a distant guardian, but as a commander watching over a chosen one stepping into a destiny that carries spiritual consequence. There is a shift happening inside you that even you cannot fully articulate yet. You feel it in your breathing, in your thoughts, in the subtle tension beneath your skin. It is the awareness that something is aligning. Something you have waited for, prayed for, endured for, and even cried for in seasons when you felt forgotten. Heaven is not simply moving around you, heaven is moving through you. Michael reveals that you have finally entered a season of spiritual maturity where God can show you things he could not reveal before. You have been strengthened through trials, clarified through loss, refined through pressure, and prepared through moments that seemed random but were divinely structured. Every hardship you endured became part of heaven's chiseling. Every disappointment trimmed away what could not accompany you into your next chapter. Every ending cleared room for divine beginnings. What once broke you is now shaping you. What once felt like rejection is now being revealed as redirection. And what once felt like silence was actually strategy. There is a revelation Michael insists you must hear. You are no longer who you were even a few months ago. Something in your spirit has evolved, matured, expanded. You are thinking differently. You are seeing differently. You are sensing differently. Where you once reacted from fear, you now respond with wisdom. Where you once felt small, you now feel an unfamiliar but undeniable strength rising within you. And this strength is not arrogance. It is alignment. It is the quiet confidence of someone who has survived what was meant to destroy them and risen with clarity instead of confusion. Heaven is also drawing your attention to a spiritual pattern that has recently been breaking in your life. For years, you have experienced cycles. Cycles of getting close to breakthrough, but watching it slip away. Cycles of meeting people who seemed aligned, but later revealed harmful intentions. Cycles of opportunities that sparkled at first, but eventually collapsed. These cycles were not coincidences. They were spiritual interruptions engineered to keep you from stepping into the fullness of your destiny. But now the cycle has ended. Michael has cut the pattern at its root, and you are stepping into something that will not repeat the disappointments of your past. There is also a powerful truth unfolding. Heaven has been isolating you for a purpose. You may have felt lonely recently, disconnected, detached, or misunderstood. But this was not abandonment. It was refinement. God removed you from circles that were too small for your calling. He separated you from voices that drowned out his own. He pulled you away from people who would have drained the oil he is pouring into your life now. You were not left alone. You were placed apart. Separation is often the first sign of elevation. Michael shows me another vision. You standing with a divine light rising behind you, casting the shadow of your past forward. The shadow is long, but it is behind you now. This vision means your past no longer has authority over your identity. The mistakes, the regrets, the fears, the things you wish you could undo, they have no jurisdiction over where God is taking you. You are stepping out of the shadow and into a chapter where you are defined not by what hurt you, but by what healed you. There is someone connected to your next season whose arrival has been delayed by spiritual interference. But that interference has now been broken. Whether this is a mentor, a partnership, a supportive relationship, a destiny connection, or someone assigned to help lift you into your next level, their entrance is approaching. This person will bring clarity, confirmation, and collaborative strength. Heaven has aligned their path with yours, and the timing is finally shifting. You must also understand that God is preparing to accelerate something that was once stagnant. A dream that felt frozen is thawing. A door that remained sealed is now unlocking. A plan that seemed impossible is becoming inevitable. You have entered a season of divine movement, and no force can stop the momentum heaven is generating in your life. The spiritual winds have reversed direction. They are now blowing in your favor. Before this part concludes, listen to this final revelation. You are stepping into a moment where heaven will show you why you endured everything you did. The meaning will not just comfort you, it will empower you. Stay present, stay open, stay aligned, because what is coming next carries the weight of destiny unfolding in real time. Trust me, you will want to hear what follows. Type "I walk into my divine unfolding" in the comments if this is resonating in your spirit. Blessing code 558 is now released. If this message is strengthening you, take a moment to like, comment, share, and help this word reach more souls who need it. Lift this message, push it forward, and let it become a guiding light for others walking through darkness. Your interactions carry spiritual impact here. My faithful soul, the atmosphere surrounding you is shifting once again, and this time it carries a depth that feels almost ancient, as though heaven is reaching into a place within you that has remained untouched until now. Archangel Michael stands with a firmness in his posture, a sign that what is about to unfold carries spiritual weight. You have crossed a point of no return in your transformation. You are no longer wandering in confusion. You are no longer searching for direction without clarity. You are now stepping into the deeper layers of your divine assignment, and heaven is preparing you with revelations that will anchor your next steps with supernatural certainty. Michael reveals that your spirit has been awakening in waves. The first wave shook loose what no longer belonged around you. The second wave rearranged what had been blocking your path. But now, the third wave is arriving, and this one is not about removal or rearrangement. It is about empowerment. Heaven is pouring strength into you, strength to walk into new environments, strength to speak with authority, strength to make decisions that once scared you, strength to release what weighs you down, and strength to embrace what God is placing in your hands. This empowerment is not shallow emotional excitement. It is deep spiritual grounding. There is a truth Michael insists that you hear. God has been preparing you for a moment of elevation that requires you to see yourself differently. You cannot hold on to the identity shaped by your past wounds and step into the identity written in your destiny. You are being called to see your power, your resilience, and your divine calling through heaven's perspective, not through the shadow of past pain. You are not the broken version of yourself anymore. You are not the doubting version of yourself anymore. You are not the hesitant version of yourself anymore. Heaven has deepened you, matured you, and refined you. You are walking into a chapter that demands confidence, clarity, and spiritual stability. Michael shows another vision, a staircase made of light. Each step represents a transformation you have already endured. The steps behind you are dim, representing the battles you fought quietly, the tears you shed privately, and the nights you felt spiritually exhausted. But the steps ahead are brighter, glowing with clarity, promise, and divine direction. Heaven wants you to know that you are climbing, not falling. You are rising, not sinking. You are advancing, not repeating old cycles. The staircase is a symbol of your ascent, and every step brings you closer to the divine fulfillment God has been shaping inside you. But hear this, something significant is shifting in the relationships around you. Heaven is separating noise from truth. Those who secretly envied you, those who benefited from your selflessness without reciprocation, those who admired your light but never protected it, heaven is distancing them from your path. This distancing is not punishment, it is cleansing. You must not chase what God is removing. You must not cling to what heaven is pruning. The next season of your life requires relationships rooted in alignment, not obligation. Michael is also addressing the silent fear that has lingered in the back of your mind. Fear of repeating past disappointments, fear of choosing wrong again, fear of trusting the wrong person, fear of failing after you finally begin to hope. He is silencing that fear now. Heaven is placing you on a path where discernment will guide your steps so powerfully that you will avoid traps that once ensnared you. You will see through false intentions. You will sense danger before it forms. You will recognize authenticity before words are spoken. You are not walking blindly anymore. Heaven is holding your vision steady. There is also a divine unveiling coming regarding your purpose. You have carried fragments of your calling for years, pieces that made sense on their own, but never seemed to form a complete picture. But heaven has been aligning them behind the scenes. Soon, the clarity you have prayed for will be given to you in a way that makes every past struggle feel purposeful. You will understand why you were set apart. You will understand why God removed certain people. You will understand why your path was different. Purpose is about to be revealed with depth, and you will step into it with authority. Michael also reveals that a sudden change is approaching, not chaotic, but divinely timed. This change will shift your direction in a way that surprises even you. It may be a new opportunity, a relocation, a conversation, a divine encounter, an unexpected open door, or a shift in your spiritual assignment. You will not have to force it. It will arrive like a gentle but undeniable pull. Heaven is repositioning you, and this repositioning will feel like a breakthrough disguised as transition. And there is more. Your spiritual authority is rising. You will begin to notice that your presence itself carries weight. People will feel peace when you enter a room. Others will sense conviction. Some will feel exposed. You will speak with more clarity, and your words will carry spiritual substance. This is not ego. This is elevation. Heaven is trusting you with the influence that requires humility, wisdom, and discernment. You have been prepared for this. Before this part concludes, internalize this truth. You are not approaching transformation. You are in the middle of it. Your spirit is awakening. Your path is clearing. Your steps are being guided. And what is coming next will not just speak to your future. It will anchor your destiny. Type "I receive my awakening and alignment" in the comments if this is speaking deeply to your spirit. Blessing code 7774 is now activated. My enduring soul, the atmosphere around you is stirring again, and this time it carries a sense of gravity unlike anything that has preceded it. Archangel Michael stands before you with a stillness that signals the seriousness of what heaven is preparing to reveal. You have walked through 9 layers of divine unveiling, each one peeling back the weight of old seasons and preparing your spirit for what is rising. But now, as you step into this moment, the spiritual realm is shifting into a new posture. Heaven is ready to deliver a revelation that will not simply guide you, but transform the way you approach the next chapter of your destiny. This moment is not just another step. It is a turning point. Michael reveals that your spirit has been undergoing reconstruction. You have felt internal changes, subtle at times, overwhelming at others. You have sensed emotional shedding, spiritual clearing, mental expansion, and inner alignment. This was not random. It was preparation for a new spiritual identity. No one who carries a calling like yours remains the same. Elevation always requires internal renovation. You endured seasons that broke old patterns, seasons that tested your endurance, seasons that forced you to choose growth when comfort tempted you to remain stagnant. But every choice you made, every silent prayer, every private moment of perseverance has led you here, to a threshold moment that will redefine the path ahead. There is something Michael insists you must understand right now. You have been walking in a form of suppressed power. Not because you were weak, but because life, trauma, betrayal, disappointment, and spiritual resistance taught you to dim yourself. You learned to shrink so you wouldn't intimidate others. You learned to silence your discernment so you wouldn't upset those who were secretly threatened by your intuition. You learned to carry more than you should so others could remain comfortable in their stagnation. But heaven has declared an end to that version of you. God is awakening the warrior inside you. Your spirit is being reactivated. Your authority is being restored. Your confidence is returning. And your divine influence is about to increase. Michael is showing a vision of a field soaked in rain. For a long time, the soil seemed silent, empty, inactive. You assumed nothing was growing. You assumed your prayers were unheard or delayed. But you must understand the nature of spiritual cultivation. Seeds do not sprout the moment they are planted. They must root deeply before they rise visibly. Heaven is saying that your season of rooting is ending and your season of rising is beginning. What you thought was stagnation was actually preparation. What you thought was silence was saturation. What you thought was delay was deep alignment beneath the surface of your life. Now, the first signs of your harvest are about to appear, and they will come quickly. But with rising visibility comes new spiritual responsibility. Heaven is training your discernment because you will need to recognize who is drawn to your light for divine purpose and who approaches out of selfish intention. Michael is readying you to see through flattery, manipulation, false alignment, and spiritual disguises. You will no longer be deceived by appearances. You will sense motives before words are spoken. You will feel energy shifts before actions reveal them. This is not paranoia. This is spiritual authority awakening within you. Heaven is positioning you to lead, influence, inspire, and uplift without being drained or misled. Another revelation is emerging. Your voice is about to carry new weight. Not just in conversation, but in decisions, in relationships, in opportunities, and in the unseen realm. You have been quiet for too long, silenced by past disappointments or discouraged by environments that never celebrated your wisdom. But the next chapter requires your voice. You will speak, and clarity will follow. You will assert boundaries, and peace will follow. You will declare your intentions, and alignment will follow. Michael is strengthening your voice so you will walk with the confidence heaven has been shaping within you. You are also entering a season of divine appointments. Moments orchestrated not by coincidence but by perfect timing. Encounters, conversations, invitations, opportunities, and spiritual confirmations will begin aligning around you. God is weaving your steps into a tapestry of purpose that has been forming behind the scenes. You will feel as though life suddenly begins to make sense. You will see how every painful moment led you to this spiritual elevation. You will recognize how God protected you from paths you once begged Him to open. Heaven is guiding your future with precision. Michael reveals another scene, a door with a radiant glow emanating from beneath it. This door represents an opportunity you have prayed for, but doubted would ever come. The door has remained closed, not because you were unworthy or unprepared, but because the timing had not aligned. But heaven is declaring that the time is shifting. The door is warming. The seals are loosening. And soon, it will open. When it does, it will not trickle in a single blessing. It will release a cascade of divine opportunities, connections, and breakthroughs. You will step into this new space with a sense of purpose that feels unmistakably divine. But heaven also gives this final instruction: protect your peace. Guard your spirit. Do not allow old fears to contaminate your new season. Do not allow old voices to influence your new identity. Do not allow past disappointments to define future blessings. You are rising, and not everyone will understand this rise. Some will distance themselves. Some will misunderstand your transformation. Some will feel threatened by your growth. But heaven wants you to know that your elevation is not a loss. It is divine alignment. Before this part closes, hold this revelation deeply within you. You are stepping into a level of clarity, strength, and destiny that has been waiting for the right moment to activate. That moment is now. Stay anchored. Stay aware. Stay aligned. Because the next revelation will open your spirit in ways you have never experienced. Type "I step into my divine rise" in the comments if this is speaking deeply to you. Blessing code 992 has now been released. My chosen one, the atmosphere around you is heavy with revelation again, and this time the weight of it feels undeniable, almost as though heaven itself is leaning close enough for your spirit to feel the breath of divine truth. Archangel Michael stands in front of you with a posture that signals both protection and proclamation. There is something unfolding now that is not merely meant to inspire you, but to awaken a deeper spiritual authority that has been dormant within you for far too long. What you are stepping into is not just another stage of growth. It is the unveiling of a spiritual assignment that has been prepared for you since the beginning. Heaven has been waiting for the moment when your heart, your mind, and your spirit were aligned enough to receive what is being released right now. Michael reveals that you are entering a new dimension of discernment. Not the kind that merely warns you of danger or shows you the intentions of those around you, but the kind that allows you to interpret divine signals with clarity and confidence. In the past, you sensed things but doubted yourself. You felt shifts but questioned your intuition. You saw signs but wondered if they were coincidence. You heard inner warnings, but ignored them out of fear of misjudging someone or ruining a connection. But that season is ending. The next phase of your destiny demands a form of spiritual perception that is steady, sure, and unshaken. You will not second-guess your inner knowing anymore. Heaven is settling that wavering within you, grounding you in truth. There is a powerful truth Michael insists you embrace. You were never meant to walk your path with uncertainty. The doubts you carried were not spiritual weakness. They were symptoms of your heart being shaped by past wounds. Times when you trusted the wrong person. Times when you believed words that were not supported by actions. Times when you gave too much of yourself to people who took advantage of your kindness. Those moments taught you to be cautious, but heaven is teaching you now to be confident. Your spirit has matured beyond fear. You are being elevated into a version of yourself that understands your calling and sees your worth with clarity. Michael shows another vision, a large book being opened in the spiritual realm. The pages glow like warm firelight, and each page represents a chapter of your purpose. The earlier pages contain your struggles, your lessons, your battles, your heartbreaks, and your victories. But as the book turns to the current page, the light intensifies. This symbolizes a shift from preparation to activation. Heaven is writing a chapter that will introduce you to the version of yourself that has been hidden beneath the weight of survival. You are being called to rise into your purpose without hesitation. Part of this rise includes the breaking of emotional residue left from old seasons. There are fragments of memories, small fears, lingering insecurities, and subtle anxieties that attach themselves to your spirit over the years. You hid them well, even from yourself. You functioned, you moved forward, you lived, you grew, but pieces of the past clung to you like dust on forgotten furniture. Heaven is cleansing that residue now. Michael is removing the last traces of anything that would slow your ascent. This cleansing will feel like sudden emotional clarity, unexpected calm, or an overwhelming sense of relief. It is divine detox. There is also a revelation coming about your influence. You may not see yourself as influential, but heaven views you as someone whose presence carries spiritual impact. Your words shift atmospheres. Your compassion heals wounds you do not even know exist. Your resilience inspires others quietly. And your story, your entire journey, will become a source of light for people you have not even met yet. Heaven is preparing you for influence that extends beyond your immediate circle. You will be placed in situations where your insight matters. You will be entrusted with conversations that require wisdom. You will be assigned to people who need your voice. Michael is also revealing that you are being positioned for restoration in an area of your life that has felt empty or unfulfilled. Something you surrendered long ago. Something you assumed had slipped past you. Something you thought was no longer part of your story. Heaven is bringing it back in a redeemed, elevated, purified form. God never forgets what He places inside you. Even dreams you abandoned will return, but this time they will come with clarity, direction, and divine support. Now listen carefully, because this part is crucial. Heaven is preparing to release an instruction to you. This instruction may come through a conviction in your spirit, a dream, a sign, a sudden clarity, or a strong internal message. When it comes, they will not feel random. It will resonate so deeply that you will know it is a divine directive. Your next breakthrough is directly attached to your response to this instruction. Michael urges you to listen with your spirit, not your fear. God is guiding you into alignment. Another shift is approaching, something involving a decision you have been postponing. You have hesitated because the choice carries weight, but heaven is going to nudge you toward the answer that aligns with your purpose. You will recognize the right path because it will bring peace to your spirit, even if it challenges your comfort. Before this part closes, allow this truth to settle deeply within you. You are not walking into your destiny blindly. Heaven is lighting your steps, strengthening your spirit, and preparing your heart for the elevation ahead. What is coming next will not just stir you, it will transform you. Type "I am ready" for what heaven writes next in the comments if this stirred something inside you. Blessing code 441 is now activated. My awakened and appointed soul, the atmosphere surrounding you is shifting into its most profound state yet. carrying the weight of a divine conclusion that does not end your journey, but launches you into the next dimension of your calling. Archangel Michael stands before you, now not only as a protector or a messenger, but as a witness to the spiritual maturity you have stepped into through every revelation that has been poured into your spirit up to this moment. Heaven has been peeling back the layers of old identity, old fears, old limitations, and old versions of you that could not accompany your destiny. Now, as you enter this final unfolding, there is a stillness, a holiness, a divine confirmation that you are standing inside the moment God aligned from the beginning. Nothing about your presence here is accidental. Nothing about your timing is random. You are exactly where heaven intended you to be. Michael reveals that you have crossed into a chapter where your spirit will operate from authority rather than uncertainty. You are no longer the version of yourself that questioned every step, every sign, every whisper from God. You have grown, endured, learned, surrendered, and aligned. Heaven honors that journey. Your spiritual eyes are open now. Your senses are sharpened. Your intuition is no longer fragile. It is fortified. You can feel truth before it speaks. You can sense danger before it arrives. You can recognize alignment before it manifests. This is spiritual acceleration, and you are walking inside it. There is a profound truth Michael insists you hold close. God is preparing to release a shift so significant, so purposeful, so meticulously orchestrated, that it will unravel every misunderstanding you ever carried about who you truly are. Your destiny is not fragile. Your calling is not uncertain. Your future is not unstable. Heaven has been shaping you into someone who can handle the weight of influence, the responsibility of spiritual clarity, and the grace required to walk in divine purpose. You are no longer being prepared. You are being activated. Michael shows another vision, a throne carved from light, not representing status or superiority, but spiritual inheritance. You were created with authority. You were designed with purpose. You were anointed with intention. Heaven is reminding you of your identity so that you will never again walk beneath the level of who you truly are. You are stepping into a chapter where your decisions will carry spiritual weight. Your words will break chains. Your prayers will shift atmospheres, and your presence will change rooms. You will no longer underestimate your power. You will no longer apologize for your discernment. You will no longer dim your light to keep others comfortable. Now hear this carefully, for it carries destiny. There is a final release coming. A breakthrough that has been held in spiritual chambers, waiting for the moment your heart could sustain it. You are ready now. Heaven is ready now. The delay has served its purpose. The waiting has shaped your spirit. The battles have sharpened your insight. And now, the very thing you thought was far away is approaching like a divine tide. It will feel sudden, but it has been forming for years. God is about to place something in your hands that will confirm everything you felt rising within you, but could not name. Michael also reveals that in this next season, your peace will be non-negotiable. You will not fight for it. You will not beg for it. You will not chase it. You will embody it. And as your peace strengthens, anything that disrupts your spirit will be removed swiftly, cleanly, and divinely. Heaven will not allow old cycles to sneak into your new chapter. You are being guarded, elevated, protected, and positioned with precision. Another truth is unfolding. Your voice will rise, not in noise but in impact. People will seek your insight. Doors will open because of your presence. Opportunities will find their way to you without your pursuit. Your obedience has unlocked access. Your endurance has unlocked authority. and your alignment has unlocked destiny. Now, as this sacred part comes to its close, hear this last revelation. What comes after this moment is not uncertainty, it is fulfillment. You are stepping into the exact second God prepared. Your destiny truly does hinge on what you do next, and heaven is confirming that your next step will be guided, supported, and enveloped in divine timing. You are ready. Heaven is ready. Your future is ready. Type "I rise into my God-ordained destiny" in the comments if this final awakening is speaking to your spirit. Blessing code 1212 has been released. Take a moment to like, comment, share, and lift this message so it reaches the souls who are walking through darkness and need this divine clarity. Your engagement carries spiritual ripple effects. Your actions push the mission forward,